I'm going to go ahead and start the recording so that you have a live copy of this. And there will be a few other people joining us on a regular or intermittent basis. I just heard from one today that their schedule got shifted on them prematurely, and they thought they were available, and now they're not. So they're in the process of requesting that time and space. So today's all about really getting clear on what we're here for and setting intentions and moving forward with a clarity and an ease. And part of this setting intentions is, one, your personal intentions. And then two, there's a group intention. So I'd like you to get really clear on your intention for being here. And I know it's personal growth. That's really vague, right? The more specific you can be in your personal growth and your intentions, the more the universe delivers to us exactly what we're seeking. So as we just hold it really wide open, we may end up with things we're not quite really wanting. I used to say, careful what you wish for. Have you ever heard of somebody saying, I wish for patience? And when you are given examples of when to exercise patience, the last thing you really want is all of those experiences to take you into patience. So you really want the peace that patience brings you, not reasons to find yourself needing patience. So I sort of have an intention for all of our time together, and we're going to start out with a centering where I'm just going to ask you to collect all your energy and your thoughts and let go, come within, and find that center place within yourself where you feel connected to all that you are. Because as we come into a learning experience open and ready to receive, we tend to gain and grasp and hear more of what we're intended to hear. So put your feet on the floor, flat on the floor. Don't cross your arms or legs, and just be in an open receiving position, and close your eyes and just take a couple deep centering breaths where you're calling all of your energy back home to you. And with every in-breath, let it be a deep in-breath that comes down into the lower lobes of your lungs, expanding your belly. Hold it for a few seconds and then release it with a really clearing and an intentional letting go of tension that we've stored in the body, letting go of any energy you no longer need. And what this does is it begins to free up some space within us to learn and bring in new ways, new ideas, new growth, new expansion, new knowledge. And allow yourself with every breath to connect more deeply into that center space and place within yourself where all is whole, complete, and perfect. Where you begin to release your thoughts about where you need to be or where we need to go afterwards or what needs to be done the rest of the day. And just allowing yourself to come present to this now moment. And imagine you could turn on your inner ears to allow Spirit to guide you and hear what you need to hear for your highest growth for this next hour. And that you can allow your inner eyes to show you what's most powerful and impactful for you to grasp and gain in moving forward in this next hour. Breathe into that, and so it is, and so it shall be. I will always start our call with some centering because we come from different journeys and different paths and different experiences, and I really believe it's important to come clear and centered in all that we want to experience and share. So the intentions for the group, especially when we have other people on the call, is that we are coming forward with that highest intention that whatever we hear here stays here, and that we give the other person the highest regard, that we treat them with the most utmost respect, and that we honor what I call the namaste. And the namaste is an understanding that the holiness, the divine in me, sees and recognizes the holiness and the divine in you. That each one of us is really a spark of the one creator and creation of all things, whether they're plants, animals, humans. There's a power that breathes life into all things, and we all stem from that same power, that same presence. And when we begin to see that in another, we invite them to own that within themselves. So it's actually an empowering message and energy that we send forth when we bring that collectively to where we are going. So I'm going to share with you my screen here and show you an overview of what we're going to talk about today. I always start with the center and centering us, setting your personal intentions. I'm going to invite you to do each week. And then I just went over the group intentions. And so the goals for today are really to get clear on this entire course is about connecting you spiritually. So it's to strengthen that relationship and that connection to who you are. And your spiritual growth is your personal growth and evolution in that part of yourself that connects with all that we are. But I'm going to invite that forward at the beginning and throughout each and every call, because I truly believe that's where our power lies, is in that spiritual connection. And then part of this course is all about letting go of old programming that no longer serves us. We are supercomputers. This human being is a supercomputer, and the operating system is our self-talk. And our self-talk is made up of our past, our beliefs, and the stories and structure of what we've brought forth from our upbringing and a collective from our environment. And the ultimate goal is to give you the potential to step into living a life that you truly love. That you are the co-creator with this powerful presence that breathes you, and that you get to create what you truly would love in your life. So the first step is really knowing that we're not alone. In that, I say, if you really knew who walked beside you at all times on the path that you've chosen, because no one chose it for us. This is our path. And the moment we are dissatisfied with the path we're on, we have free will to choose again. But if we truly, truly understood the power of this presence that breathes us and walks with us, it lives, moves, and has its being in us, through us, as us, fear and doubt would fall away. And I want you to really take a moment to understand where you connect with this knowledge within you. And if you haven't created for yourself what I call an anchor is, a lot of times in meditation, we use the anchor by pulling two fingers together. You can use an anchor by putting your hand on your heart. You can use an anchor in any way. You can put your hands in prayer position in front of you. Whatever you want to do for an anchor, but allowing yourself to bring yourself back to the remembrance of this, to where all your power really lies in this moment of truth and belief. What words connect you with this? You know, what name or vocabulary do you give to this particular power that moves in you. So I'd love for you to open up and share what connects you to this and what words you give to it to help me model and take it deeper moving forward. I think from some of your answers, Lonnie, you chose spirit as the term. Mm-hmm. That spirit is what connects you. So when you know spirit walks beside you at all times, what do you do? How do you connect there? What do you do? What do you say? What do you bring your mind to remember? And then do you have an anchor to connect it?
I mean, when I do remember that spirit walks with me, and when I'm in that mental place, it's just natural, and it's all enveloping, kind of like in a protective energy shroud. I mean, I don't really think that there's anything such as an anchor. I'm either in that good place and it's natural, or I lose touch and kind of fall out of it.
Okay. Well, and that's perfect, because that is exactly what happens. But what I'm trying to share right now is that space is available to us 24/7. And just noticing we're not there, we have the potential, we have the power to reconnect us at any moment in time, quickly and easily. And the power in an anchor is to really anchor that in within us. You know, if anywhere you are, you know, pulling two fingers together can become an anchor for you, and you give meaning to that being your anchor to take you back to that place and space of remembering, you're going to quickly and easily bring yourself there more often. And because this is where your power lies, I want you to create for yourself an anchor. And you don't have to know what it is right now, but if you do, let's just anchor it now, right? But if you don't, sit with this, replay this video after we're done here today, and really get clear on what you want to use to anchor it. You know,
I'm sorry, is it a physical?
Yes.
cue?
Yes. So the anchor is something you do physical. It's putting a motion or a meaning or a message from the body into your wanting to recall and remember that point, that spirit walks with me always. So it's a way to really anchor it back into the body and bring you back to this now moment. And when you create a gesture that goes with it, I invite you to create a gesture that you can do in public and in meetings and with your boss, right? And for some people, they just want to touch their heart. You know, for others, it's pinching a finger together. For others, it's crossing their finger in that wishful mode of wishing that memory to permeate them right this moment, right? There's no right or wrong. Whatever feels most comfortable and what you're called to do to anchor that is what's right for you. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's really, really a big part of this journey forward, is our ability to come back to our power at all times. And it's going to create a stronger relationship with us in spirit, that we begin to have a two-way conversation. We begin to really trust that guidance. We begin to settle into emotions and shine the loving light of awareness on what's present. And spirit helps us illumine that darkness for us. And it feels so, just like you said, you feel so supportive. You feel everything you mentioned is real, and it's spot on. And it's going to bring you back there in every instant. So what I want is for this course, this next 12 weeks, to really permeate something new for you. And I'm going to help you understand that more quickly, more readily in your analytical mind, as well as your emotional body and your physical body and your spiritual being, as well as I go through this hour together. So if you have an anchor right now, you can share it. If you want to think about it, that's fine too.
I mean, throughout my life, a little simple symbol, not quite a fist, but putting a thumb through. It's always been like a good luck charm from my baseball playing days. So
I love it. I love it. That's it for you. That's it. So you see how easy it just came, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's part of your past. So it's going to take you there. So as you go there for the rest of today and tomorrow and this week, I want you to really anchor it in. And every time you make the motion, feel the energy, feel the presence, invite spirit in, embrace spirit and let spirit fill you and consume you and overflow out of you. And just allow that anchor to really become a permanent channel to bringing spirit in quickly and easily. Okay? And I promise you by next week this time, if you master this one thing, life is going to start shifting and changing. Everything is going to start shifting and changing. Beautiful. I am so glad that came so easily for you. Okay. Let me go back to screen sharing for a moment. And the next screen says, this one's really powerful. The mind that seeks happiness is like a wave that seeks water. And the reason this is so is because happiness, peace, and love are our essence. They're at the core of who we are, what we are at all times. And if we're not feeling happiness, love, and peace, it's because we've focused in on something so finitely that we're allowing it to camouflage and hide our own awareness to our true essence. So I leave this slide with a question that says, where am I still seeking outside myself for what lies in abundance within me? And this is a really powerful question. It's not one that you need to answer analytically in your mind. It's one that Spirit will answer for you. Spirit will begin to start showing you where you're still seeking outside yourself for what lies at your natural, organic essence. And anytime you're unhappy, you can come back to that connection, right? That anchoring of the connection of spirit, because in that enveloping of spirit all around you, peace surrounds you, it fills you, right? And with that peace comes that happiness and joy and essence of who we are. And that love just begins to fill and permeate every space and place within us. So allow this to be a pattern that can bring you back quickly and easily to bringing spirit in to show you that natural essence of who you are. And allow yourself just to detach from whatever that focus or attention or emotion that you were holding on to had taken you from your natural essence. Next, I want to share with you the essence of this work and how it's explained in science today. And this is really going to help you because you love to be in your head, or part of you is in your head, right? And you've got that analytical side. And I can be honest and tell you that I used to be the exact same way, where I had to understand it mentally. And if I couldn't comprehend it mentally, I struggled to embrace it. So everything that we're going to be working on and doing and applying over the next 12 weeks is explained in this video. The video is an explanation and a scientific definition of what neuroplasticity is and how it works. So you may think you already know, and not if you do, how neuroplasticity works, if you're aware of it.
We talked about it briefly last week.
Yep. I didn't know I was applying neuroplasticity when I was healing from 3 back surgeries and a grand mal seizure. And I just started with the motto, every day and every way I'm getting better and better. And I started seeking out ways that was true. And I started bringing in action steps, whether it was detoxing, whether it was exercise, whether it was bringing in Sudoku and crossword puzzles and video games and whatever, that we're literally doing exactly what the video is going to share. So let me share the video, and then we can talk about any questions you may have about it.
Okay. Not so long ago, many scientists believed that the brain did not change after childhood, that it was hardwired and fixed by the time we became adults. But recent advances in only the last decade now tell us that this is simply not true. The brain can and does change throughout our lives. It is adaptable, like plastic. Hence, neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. How does neuroplasticity work? If you think of your brain as a dynamic, connected power grid, there are billions of pathways or roads lighting up every time you think, feel, or do something. Some of these roads are well-traveled. These are our habits, our established ways of thinking, feeling, and doing. Every time we think in a certain way, practice a particular task, or feel a specific emotion, we strengthen this road. It becomes easier for our brains to travel this pathway. Say we think about something differently, learn a new task, or choose a different emotion. We start carving out a new road. If we keep traveling that road, our brains begin to use this pathway more, and this new way of thinking, feeling, or doing becomes second nature. The old pathway gets used less and less and weakens. This process of rewiring your brain by forming new connections and weakening old ones is neuroplasticity in action. The good news is that we all have the ability to learn and change by rewiring our brains. If you have ever changed a bad habit or thought about something differently, you have carved a new pathway in your brain and experienced neuroplasticity firsthand. With repeated and directed attention towards your desired change, you can rewire your brain.
So tell me if that helped bring clarity.
It does. And in my own experience, due to somebody messing up in martial arts training, I got dropped on my head and I had short-term memory issues for a significant, a noticeable chunk of time. Like, I wouldn't be able to remember what I did over this most recent weekend.
Yeah.
And when my wife said, "You're not the same person. You don't have the memory that you used to have," I used neuroplasticity and remade connections so I don't, as far as I know, knock on wood, don't suffer from that anymore.
Yes, absolutely. And it works in every single way, shape, and form, in all aspects of our life, in every area of our growth and our development. And you can even use it with your children. If one of your children feels they notice a weakness within them, or kids were cruel to them and said something that's affected them, you can begin telling them the opposite. You can begin feeding them the positive and planting those seeds within them for them to latch onto instead of focusing on the other one. And when their brain starts going, they're remembering what daddy said, right? And they strengthen that belief and begin to let go of the cruelty that child tried to instill in them. So it doesn't only work for us. It is the most powerful tool that we have to empower others, to strengthen ourselves, to grow ourselves, and to really create new pathways. And you noticed how once you were giving more attention to the new pathway, the old one started falling away. It stopped showing up for you. So as you begin to repattern old habits, you're going to notice they still show up. Like you thought you got rid of them, but then it shows up again. It's going to show up again and again, but less and less, until you strengthen the new way so strong that becomes the new habit. and this one falls away. So be patient with yourself. I think the biggest thing I can share from the understanding of this is to have that patience and that unconditional love and support within, to be patient with yourself. This is a process. And part of that is this humanness, right? That's how this body operates. So the biggest part that aids us in this neuroplasticity is creating space within. It's sort of like when you get a new wardrobe, you really need to declutter your closet and your drawers. And as a parent, I'm certain you and Tammy experience this with the boys. Every growing spurt they go through, you gotta clean out the drawers and make room for the new. Well, that's what we gotta do too with our growth. Getting really clear on this next 12 weeks, it's gonna be massive change. Massive change. You want massive results. You want an epic shift and change in your life. You want to see a different Lonnie. You want to feel joy and happiness. You want to live life fully. It's going to require change. So I believe the fastest way to get there is to create that space. And meditation is the most powerful tool out there to do that. And I'm going to ask that you set forth a meditation practice and let it become part of a daily ritual or habit within your life. I personally love 3 times a day, and I add it in whenever I need it outside of that. But I do morning, noon, and night. I start my day with a meditation, and I incorporate one in the middle of my day just to recenter and recharge the rest of my afternoon with focus and vitality. And then I use it at night to clear my mind, to have restful sleep, and, to release any energies I've been holding on to during the day. So to me, there's different aspects of how we use meditation. And one way I was always taught was to center yourself into that space and place within where you're connected to that higher self, to that spirit, to all that you are. And that process, however you get there, is the most important part. It's truly the most important part. It's where you relax and fall deep within to the heart and the center of all that you are. And while doing that, you're releasing tensions in the body, you're releasing thoughts in the mind, and you're releasing any emotional attachment to the other elements of who you are. And then once you get there, I always ask that you spend some of your meditation time in complete silence. To me, that's inviting in what you need to hear, the guidance, the support, the direction, the fulfillment that you need in that moment, in that time, that day. But I also think that meditation is a time where we express ourselves as well. We're sending and receiving mechanisms. We're not just a one-way channel. So gratitude is one of the highest vibrations. And when we can fill ourselves with gratitude, it pays us back royally. It's a giving and receiving. When we give gratitude, we receive. So I love to also incorporate into the meditation a moment of gratitude. And the last thing I'm going to ask that you bring into your meditation is your vision. That when you get really clear on what your vision is, that you begin to bring it into your mind and that you feel it and start to begin feeling the emotions that come with already having achieved and received and mastered all that you're working towards in your vision. And as you do that, the glory of this neuroplasticity is that the mind doesn't know the difference between what you want and what's real. And it begins shifting and changing the cellular structure of our body. Inside, cells begin to fire and wire differently. That's where health comes from, that vibrant health. If you've got any health issues, set the intention to release them and see vibrant health in whatever area of your body you don't quite recognize it to the degree you want it, and watch it transform over these next few weeks. And be sure and connect with me to celebrate, because this whole thing is about you recognizing your growth and celebrating your growth. You can't really move beyond it when you aren't giving appreciation and gratitude for it. So share with me in a text. I'm going to create a group text, and I want you to be thinking between now and next week a name for the group. And together next week, we're going to pick a name for our group, and we're going to share a group text and really have it get really clear on being accountable and holding ourselves accountable and sharing that accountability, not only in our own work with our goal worksheets and things, but in the group as well, and celebrating one another. So meditation, vision, and action steps are all part of moving us forward. The action steps come from the goal setting worksheet, okay? This is a really big part, the goal setting worksheet. I think it's really important that we create goals in 4 areas of our life. I think that we grow and we change and we evolve in different ways. But if we're not nurturing all of ourselves, and first and foremost, health and well-being is at the core of all that we are. If your health is failing or lacking in vibrancy and wellness, life pales in comparison to the grandness and greatness that it has to offer. So health and well-being has to be part of your vision, and it has to take you beyond where you are, beyond where you could be right now or later today or tomorrow. So really a goal that you need to work on getting there, and you need help. The next one is relationships, and the first relationship is with us, right? And spirit, right? Being really honest and loving and nurturing. And the only thing I'm going to say about relationships right now, because we're going to be going into this deeper next week and throughout the month of February. I love that we started right now and that the next month is all about love. To me, February is a big blown up month of love, right? I just put this big red bow on it, and it's all about self-love and learning to love and nurture ourselves. And it was said to me early on, look at how you speak to yourself. Look at the vocabulary, the words, and the intentions you're giving yourself. And if those words would not be spoken to a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old, correct your language. Correct the love you're giving yourself. And when you think about that, you think about this little toddler learning to walk, right, who falls down over and over. We would never tell them they're a loser. We would never criticize them. We'd just keep loving them, encouraging them, providing them unconditional love. And so that's what I mean by the relationship aspect of this. Just really tune in to how you're talking to yourself and how you're loving yourself and how you're supporting yourself, because the higher part of yourself is there all the time to guide you and direct you. If you just tune in, tap in, and seek that guidance, ask and you shall receive. I promise you, this is where it works. And it works bigger and bolder than you can ever imagine. I remember hearing the words, ask and you shall receive, and I thought it was in all areas of life, like ask for material things and they show up. No, but you ask for this guidance of how to feel, how to love, how to share yourself, how to share emotions. This is where spirit will guide you so fully, so fast, and so dynamically. So the next area is vocation, and that's your career. That's how you see yourself out in the world. And I know that you really see yourself in a new environment because you don't feel respected where you're at. I'm not certain that's exactly what's going to come from all this. I'm open to whatever comes. And I do know one thing, that when we don't respect ourselves, others don't respect us either. So if there's any area of not respecting yourself fully, that's where other people mirror back to us how we feel within. It's generally very difficult for others to be showing us something we don't already have within. A motto showed up for me early on: you spot it, you got it. And while it showed up for me in a group of people that were highly awake and spiritually connected, and it was really a message for you couldn't see the divinity in me if you didn't recognize it and see it in you. It goes both ways. And I got home from that dynamic, powerful retreat changed because I realized that whenever I was seeing fault in another, it was an opportunity for me to look within and heal an unhealed part of myself, where I was still holding on to something that they were helping mirror and show me. So the vocation is going to be a huge part. I really want you to get clear on what you do want and how you wish to start showing up, because you've got to own all of you. You've got to own all of your strengths and all of your weaknesses, every aspect. And it's all about self-reflection and growing beyond. Not criticizing. When we reflect, it's to observe. It's not to beat ourselves up. It's to grow. It's to recognize. And there are beautiful moments when weaknesses are a blessing. You know, if you tend to be reserved in your voice and not always saying what's on your mind, that's a beautiful gift in certain instances. That's a beautiful gift in certain instances. But it can also be a hindrance. So recognizing the strengths and the weaknesses within all qualities is what this is all about. And it's also about letting go of the labels that we've given to things, because we label things as good or bad. Just because we have an emotion doesn't mean it's good or bad. It's an emotion. The meaning we've given it is what creates the feeling it has for us. So moving through those emotions is just moving through energy. And we're going to talk more about that as the weeks unfold as well. Time and money freedom is the last area, and I'm certain you know that one well. Some of us think that's the only reason we're here, is to enjoy this time and money freedom. And it's a great aspect of our life. But believe me, if that's all you had was time and money freedom, you wouldn't feel complete. You wouldn't feel whole. You wouldn't be fulfilled. Life is a balance of all four quadrants. And if we're not balanced, we're not fully living our fullness. So the last area I want to touch on is how it's really important. I talked about four quadrants in the last screen. These are four different quadrants that are very important for us to feel. And as we go through them, I want you to just think in your own aspect of your own reality, how much time you think you give to each of these during the day. And I think it's important that every day, in every way, we spend some time in each one of these quadrants. And the first one is the body. You can't help but be in this one, right? We wake it up in the morning. We take it to relieve it in the bathroom. We feed it. We bathe it. We dress it. We exercise it. So we're always tuning into the body in some way, shape, or form. If you use your mind at work, your mind is being tapped into. But notice if your mind is controlling you or if you're controlling it. Because sometimes our mind will run away with thoughts that take us outside of the task we're doing and onto other things. So over the next 12 weeks, we're going to expand our 360 awareness. We're going to learn to harness our mind and control it and get it more focused on what task at hand and be more present in the now. And the next quadrant is emotions. Emotions were for us. They're not happening to us. They're for us. And they're for us to feel and experience and move through and transform. Life wouldn't be a true experience of life if every single day was all happiness. We would lose the joy and the effect of that happiness. I remember when I got LASIK surgery, and I went to the store the next day to get donuts for the kids while I was going to dash off to the physician's appointment to double check my vision. And as I did, I could see down the entire length of the grocery store every caption at the top of the aisle. And I'd never seen that before. I mean, I had to get closer to read the one next to it, next to it, next to it. My vision had just expanded. My 360 awareness had been amplified. I was taken to a whole nother level. And I remember saying, please don't let me lose this appreciation. It's like taking a vacation where you can see the beach in one direction and the mountains in another, and the appreciation for where you stand in that moment is so big and so vast. And yet you lose that appreciation quickly. So emotions are there for us to feel. We don't have to latch on to the ones that feel uncomfortable or struggling, but learning to handle them and learning new tools are what this course is all about as well. So we're not resisting emotions, we're encouraging them, and we're learning to visit through them every day in every way. And the last one is spirit, and you've just anchored in for you a way to connect you often with spirit. Set yourself a goal to work through, and how you want to begin incorporating those 4 quadrants. If you had to give a percentage, to each one, I certainly am not saying that they are divided equally in any way, shape, or form. And they never will be. And every day will be different. There will be some days when you're more emotionally opened up to things. I found out yesterday I lost a really dear sister. A beautiful soul. Yeah, a beautiful soul who brought the aliveness and joy of living to everyone she touched, right? She had just moved to, I think it was the Dominican Republic earlier last year, probably about June, maybe May or June. And she was working on opening a retreat center there. And I can tell you, when I heard of her death last night, when I got a phone call and then saw all the posts on Facebook, I really felt okay deep within, because I felt that it's funny when you're in the physical form, we think we're disconnected because she's in Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic, right? Like there's a part of our physicalness that thinks a certain way. What came to me last night and filled me was her presence. And now she's here in spirit to connect with all of us more deeply, often, always. And that her powerful message lives in all of us. That every life she touched is amplified by her spiritual energy now in a bigger, bolder way than it ever was when she was in physical form. And that was only because of our physical beliefs. So while there's a part of me that's open and raw, there's a part of me that's so massively connected and more deeply rooted in the knowing of what she brings forth. So set a goal for this next week in those 4 quadrants. How much time you want to spend with spirit. How much time you want to start anchoring back in. How often you want to anchor. Use your journal to help guide you and keep you connected. Set a goal for the week, right? That I want to connect with spirit, and however often you want to connect. And make it a mental note to bring that anchor alive and start to really put it forth. Whether it's hourly on the hour or on the 30 minutes or whatever works for you, okay? Mm-hmm. Are you okay with those 4 quadrants? Do you understand kind of, I think in some aspects, if you're not feeling happiness, you're not spending time with your emotions either.
I'm pretty sure I'm trying to stomp them into the ground and bury them.
All right. So let's talk about that, because what's it going to look like to feel them? You're going to have to know what that looks like. You're going to have a game plan going forward. Yeah. So on the goal setting worksheet, you're going to grow to the point on this worksheet where the goals that you have, I'm going to send you a new copy of it that's fillable in a PDF format that you can reuse for other ones as well. But on here is first of all where you list any troubles that are going to show up. Your old habits that you know are going to be present to keeping you from mastering what you want to master. At the bottom down here, this is where you put in all the action steps. So let's just say that your goal is to be happy. You know, to be at happiness, you got to get back to you, your root, your core, your essence. You already know an anchor that's going to get you there quickly. So you already have some action steps you know of that you can begin to put in place. I want to know how often and when you're going to start doing these things and how you're going to put them into place. So use these worksheets and use your planner to keep you on track for all of these things. This is you setting up your own resources of accountability outside of me, okay? So I'm gifting you these resources to begin rising them up and creating a structure of support around you that now you know what you're going to do to call back on, to bring you back to your point of power. And it's going to be really important if happiness is an emotion you're not used to feeling. Tap in and feel it often. Remember that moment, and you probably created some just this weekend. Pure happiness, right? So pull to your mind the remembrance of what happiness feels like so you can live it and create an emotional connection in the body. This is how that neural pathway really gets created. When you strengthen it with the emotion, it permeates a pathway even faster than thought alone. Okay? So really use that. I know you filled out some of these worksheets, but you didn't take them all the way down into the action steps and the problems that you see and so on and so forth. So really take the time to fill that out more deeply. I'm going to send you that connection via email that helps you with a clickable form so it doesn't, the Word documents all over the board. And it was funny, I had everything at my resources, and I had no connection with my IT guy last week because he was out of the country. And when I talked to him this morning, he said, you had everything you needed. And I was like, I knew that, but why didn't I search for it? And he says, you must have just thought Word was easiest. You must have thought a Word doc was easiest. So yeah. Anyway, I'll send that to you when we get off the call. And I want to end with the very last slide, and it just goes into showing you the life work for this week. So this is what your work is for this week. This is what you're going to start applying into every single day. This is what you're going to have to do to create that massive change that you're anticipating. And the first thing is to start observing, and just observing your thoughts, where your mind wants to go with certain things. And because until you can notice where it's at, you can't change it. When you begin to pay more attention to what you're paying attention to, you now have the ability to create the change. So pay attention to what you're paying attention to. Pay attention to the words that come out. If you use words like I don't or can't or always, and they're limiting. There's such limiting strength to those words. Cut them out. Halt them in their tracks and say, I used to say that. Not anymore. And bring in the change. And then really celebrate. Celebrate that you caught yourself in action, because the more you really program your subconscious that this is where you want to go, this is where mastery comes from. I believe mastery is us modeling it enough and celebrating it so that our subconscious begins to adapt it as a new pattern and a new habit. And I believe our subconscious is like that dutiful servant. It will do whatever we program it to do for us. And when we really get clear on what it feels like to master certain areas of life, we only work on them until we program it within, until we've created it as part of our new operating system. And to me, that's mastery. Now it acts for you until you decide you've moved beyond it and you need to create a new mindset, tool set, structure of support, whatever it looks like. At every level of your growth, you're going to be creating new stuff. So we're always going to be growing and learning, but creating that change and celebrating it is all part of it. And then really getting clear on your vision. Your vision is outside what you can do today. So your vision is going to be believable that you can do it, but at the outskirts of your comfort zone. That getting there today is not possible. So your vision is outside your comfort zone. It's going to cause you to grow. It's going to cause you to turn to spirit for guidance and help and direction. It's going to cause you to strengthen that relationship with spirit. And it's going to bring forth within you an aliveness within your body, within your beingness that inspires you from within, that motivates you on your journey. So it's all about setting goals and using your planner. I'm going to give you a copy of this, and this screen is the final summation of everything. But feel free to move through it again and take notes as you go. Do you have any questions, or is there anything that you need more clarity on?
I don't think so. I think just listening to it again and following the slides again and writing down some thoughts.
Okay, good. Share with me your goal, and I really want to see some action steps that you can put into place. As every day you create a new action step, you know, what's one that you've gathered just from today's call? One action step you know you're putting in place.
Well, practicing with the anchor and spending time, intentional time with spirit. And then I'm going to, as soon as we're done, I'm going to turn around and grab the planner and write in each of the days times for meditation. And I'll have to review back and yes, I did, or no, I didn't, and whoops. Got to make that in the daily practice.
Perfect. You got it. That's awesome. Yeah, that's what this is all about. It really is. And honestly, I can see even within you, just you knowing your plan for this week already feels like a sense of accomplishment. As you begin to write it in there, you're going to really permeate that sense of accomplishment. And as you live through it and you check them off and you master through it, that you did it that day, you're going to feel your confidence growing and rising. And you're going to feel your abilities strengthening. And you're going to feel spirit moving through you. Again, big time. Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. I truly believe life becomes effortless when we invite spirit in to do the work, when we invite spirit in to guide us and show us. And I believe spirit's here always, but because we have free will, spirit doesn't force itself on us, right? It waits until we invite that energy in. And that's what we're really strengthening, is that relationship with inviting it in and living, allowing it to live and move through us. Beautiful. I can't wait. So keep me posted. I am a text message and email away at any time. Any questions, any concerns, send me your goal worksheet on a couple of those topics, and let's get really strong and start strengthening the action steps you want to put forth.
Okay, sounds good.
Beautiful. Have an amazing day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.